Who do you think is our friend tonight? Let's see in the chat. Who do you think it is? Me and my friend are hopefully seeing Mugen Train. I don't know what that is. Why is that still going on? I forgot to turn that off from the bot. Don't click that link. It's dead. It's not Khan. Not Acorn. Let me turn this off before I forget, because this is going to go all night long. Commands. That's off. Timers. That's off. Okay. That should be off. BB? No. Do you... Wait, hold on. Do you hear that? Do you hear... I hear something off in the distance. I hear something. It sounds like a hey? Sounds like...
Hey now.
Sounds like a hey now. It is TheRobLogan. If you guessed...
Hey now.
TheRobLogan as the friend for Fone-a-Friend Friday. You are correct. Rob, hello. Good evening.
Hello. I hate to disappoint all the Acorn lovers in chat.
It's all right. It's just going to be all every time it's Fone-a-Friend Friday. I hope it's Acorn. Hope it's Acorn. We did Acorn. I have more than 5 friends or 5 contractual friends. So.
Oh yeah, like I'm set for what? 5 minutes? We said.
We said for like the 30 minutes. We got questions to ask here.
Oh, fine. All right, sure.
Mm-hmm. But no more.
Oh no, are you ready for the longest Fone-a-Friend Friday you've ever heard?
I don't know. Taylor and I went for almost an hour. So that was...
I consider that a challenge.
All right. Let's go. Everyone noticing now, I did this for Zach, and of course, Zach's not here tonight. You are the first member or the first Fone-a-Friend guest to have a working time clock on your graphic.
Hey.
So... You're welcome.
I like how the phone is slowly getting upgraded to new versions.
Slowly. We'll get there. At some point, I got big plans. I got working buttons I want to do. I got a timer for how long to call. I got all plans, but I don't want to give away too much. I want to make an animation where I actually answer it, which would be really funny.
I am very glad you captured my best side.
Yes, it's your bat side, which is your best side. Yes.
I agree. Cover up my face as much as possible.
At first, I was going to go for the Geek Generation logo caricature. And then...
I'm surprised you didn't go with the one you drew.
I don't know where that is anymore. It's probably on my iPad somewhere.
Oh, I could have sent it to you.
Oh, whatever. It's fine. My ego is stroked enough when I just go live. I don't need to stroke it anymore because TOS.
To quote a Greg, fair.
Yes. So, Rob, for Fone-a-Friend Friday, what we like to do is we like to answer like really cringy icebreaker questions for the first part, and then we're going to jump into the Would You Rather section where we play Would You Rather.
So this is going to be like every work retreat that I hated.
Yes, which is why I love that you're doing this. I went to the mighty Google machine, and I found a different list of icebreaker questions. And this one is icebreaker questions for kids from a completely different site. This is from prodigygame.com. These questions just seemed, I feel, more tailored.
Seems appropriate.
To you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have 3 sections that we can use, and I'll let you choose the section, and then chat will choose a number based on a range that I give them, and then after that, you'll choose the number. So we have getting to know you questions. We have icebreaker questions to start conversations, and questions to spark the imagination.
I like the imagination one.
Okay. So then we have 1 through 10. Chat, you need to pick a number 1 through 10, and I'm going to ask Rob that question, and he's going to answer it. Put on some music in the background. Anyways, I'm very excited about this one. This particular category is really good. Keeps came in first with 8. So that means if you had a TV show about your life, what would it be called and who would play you?
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What would the TV show be called?
Yes. What would the TV show be called and who would play you?
Let's call the show Average Despite Effort.
I like that a lot. That's funny. Okay. Next.
And who would play me?
Mm-hmm.
I know who my celebrity doppelganger is, but I don't know if it would make sense to have him play me.
Who?
Personality-wise, because my celebrity doppelganger is Gary Gulman, which I don't know if people know. He's a stand-up comedian, also from the Boston area.
I don't even know if I know who that is.
He's taller than me, more muscular, and has better hair. But aside from that, facially,
I can see that
a dead
now.
ringer.
Yeah, I can see that.
Especially from certain angles.
He's a bit older than you.
Is he?
He's 50.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, yeah, he is.
He's playing you in the future. You write your own story of what your life is like in the future.
Hey, he's holding on pretty dang well then.
Yeah. I feel like most celebrities in their 50s look like 40. If they age at all.
That's true.
Like Keanu Reeves is like what, 55 right now?
Yeah.
Like, it's wild. I was going through a list of actors in their 50s. I don't remember what the conversation was, but I was looking for something. And the amount of actors that were in there, I was just like awestruck. And I knew, like, I think there's always 35 in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they never age longer than that. And they just stay that way, right?
So if I'm going for a younger actor, I don't know if there's no particular reason other than I'm a fan of him and have been for a long time, despite some of the mainstream missteps that are not his fault whatsoever. I would say Logan Lerman. I don't know if you know who that is.
Why does that name sound so familiar? I bet you I'm going to look him up and I'm going to know exactly who it is.
He played Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
So I've been a fan of his as an actor since the TV series Jack and Bobby, which not a ton of people know about. Yeah. It was him and is it Matt Long that played his older brother who's on Manifest right now.
Yep.
And for those who don't know the show, it was, man, what a freaking great show. I want to go back and watch it because I just have really fond memories of it and I haven't watched it since it first aired. It only won a season. It was about Jack and Bobby Kennedy, but I think it was about like their life as kids, almost in like a what if, because it wasn't historically accurate.
Right.
But I think they didn't call them Kennedy.
No, it was McAllister. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But it was how they rose to, one rose to a government position to become the president of the United States, while the other one kind of went down a different path. And we were supposed to be exploring the backstory that went up to that point. And I just remember that show being incredible. Actually, here's a fun little trivia thing. The first time I saw another A-list actor was in that show that a lot of people forget was in it. And that is one Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. I forgot he was in Alias. And he was... So when I watched Alias, it was when I was first dating Mrs. Boost because she said she liked it. And it turns out she just like a couple episodes and I like went overboard and watched 4 seasons or something stupid like that.
As geeks do. Yes.
And then Bradley Cooper shows up in the first 2 or 3 seasons as like kind of a hippie kind of guy, which was like interesting. And then he just disappears. And right when he disappears is when his career took off. But yeah, so not a lot of people realize that he was also in that. He was like I feel like he was a pretty good TV actor for a while. Then he just made that transition into films and never looked back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his too. So like a lot of actors, I don't know if it's because they came out of that show that I'm a big fan of them or that they just are great actors anyway. And I just learned about them early on. So I've kind of hung around for a lot of their career.
Yeah. Sometimes a really good script attracts just the right actors as they're going to take off, right? So like you have like a really good show with a really good premise that's very interesting and intriguing, and all of like the intelligent and good actors going to be like, I want to do that. Like, I don't care. Like, give me whatever part. I want to be in this. And then because they're just naturally talented and great people or whatever, they take off right after that, right? Like, they know how to play the Hollywood game, and they take off. So I find that very interesting that there are a lot of shows that are like that. Like, I feel like Tales from the Crypt was kind of like that, where it was like supposed to be grindhousey and like corny, but like the right people understood that, and that's where Brad Pitt got one of his first roles. He was in like a random old episode. So it's very interesting to see like what those shows are, and as time goes on, like what the trends are to that. Because when Jack and Bobby came out, that was big CW, or at that point it was
I think it was WB.
Yeah. Well, it's CW now, but it was WB at that point. It was big, like teen-ish dramas and family dramas and stuff like that. Because I think that might have also been the time around Seventh Heaven, or maybe when that was ending. I think it was around right here. So they were transitioning from family into teen dramas with, Dawson's Creek, Smallville, Roswell, all that stuff. So,
hey, remember when UPN was a thing?
Oh my God. Remember the biggest travesty, which was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, went from the WB to UPN network and got canceled after like a season. Veronica Mars. Thank you, Lisa.
I've
Veronica
never
Mars.
watched Buffy.
Well, you're not going to start now. Now you can't really. Yes. Joss Whedon is not a nice person.
He's not, but I'm fairly capable of separating the person from the art.
That's true.
It's not like you have to watch Whedon in the show. Like, he's not in it.
I was having this conversation with Mrs. Boost where I found it very interesting that he treated like his female actors so poorly when his bread and butter are strong female leads.
It's strange, yeah,
it's
for
very
sure.
Strange.
And I wonder where that comes from, where that psychology comes from. I don't know. I wonder if the creative side was an overcompensation.
Maybe. I also find, this is my conspiracy theory brain going to work on this one. I also find it interesting that this all popped up right as the Snyder Cut hit.
Yeah,
considering he did the bad cut of the Justice League, which they're both bad cuts, don't get me wrong, but I guess the worst cut.
Though Ray Fisher kind of started that train beforehand, it was just that it wasn't until Charisma Carpenter seconded it until, then it really got a foothold.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, he did have a lot of properties that I really liked. Dollhouse was another really interesting one. Dollhouse was the first one where Alan Tudyk, for me, really was shining as an actor. Because at that point, I only knew him as Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball. And that,
oh, wow.
And basically it. That was basically it. Because I got into Firefly a little bit later.
Yeah, same. I have it on Blu-ray, but I really didn't watch it until probably like almost 10 years after it came out.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it was definitely said and over with. Because you couldn't watch it live on Fox. Because Fox did everything they could to like just demolish it in terms of ratings. They played episodes out of order. They switched the time slots. They did all this crazy stuff. But Knight's Tale, I knew he was in that, but he didn't like pop out as an actor for me, Keeps, in A Knight's Tale. It was in Dollhouse where he actually played the villain, where I was like, whoa, this guy's chops are just like really good. Because then I went back and I watched Dodgeball again, I, Robot with Will Smith, because he was the voice of Sonny the Robot. Knight's Tale, also, like, you kind of see his range. And now, did you watch that new show, Resident Alien? I think that's what it's called.
I have not seen it, no.
I watched the pilot episode. It's an interesting premise where an alien kind of kills this guy who lives out in Alaska or something and just wants to live in seclusion, but he gets kind of forced into town because he's the only doctor within like miles and miles and miles. So he's kind of like studying the human race, but also like trying to blend in, and it's very silly. It's very classic him, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, that seems like his sensibility.
Yeah. He could play quirky. He could play Serious. He could play evil. He can play it all. Just more of him. More Alan Tudyk in my life.
Old K2SO.
He's set for life too with Disney.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah.
Like not only just with K2SO, but with what was that movie? Wreck-It Ralph, where he played the bad guy. So, worst case scenario, he's getting those residual checks anyways.
True.
Yeah. All right. So my turn. I want to switch that song. I want to listen to that song. My turn. All right. So what would my movie be called? The Puntastic Adventures of Greg and the legal battle potential against Nicola. I mean, no, not that.
Okay, so to assuage your fears about that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about things behind the scenes of another podcast that I do, and things that I can't necessarily talk about publicly.
Yeah.
But that is often the beginning of forming a relationship that is a positive thing.
That's what I thought too. Acorn and I were spiraling out of control for about 5 minutes in the nosediving, and then finally it was just like, well, if you really think about it, if lawyers haven't contacted us, so we're probably good. I feel like that's the first step if you're going to take me down is lawyers.
Well, I mean, the thing we were talking about in Discord a little bit too was that they had every right to be like, hey, we want to use Avatar the podcast.
That's true. That's very true.
And they said, no, we're going to use a completely different name and just let them do that because I would assume they listened. And if you guys had a shit show, then they would have been like, oh, yeah, we're taking that because this can't be our brand.
Oh, man. I didn't even think about that.
Context.
I didn't even think about if they listened or not.
If you were a garbage show that they didn't want representing Avatar, they would have yoinked that name from you so fast and would have had every legal right to do so. But they're allowing you to maintain it.
I thought it's big. I thought it might have also been they want our Twitter handle, but we didn't even. Our Twitter handle was our second place or our runner-up Twitter handle.
Right,
we wanted
the other one was taken, right?
Yeah. So we wanted, so everyone knows, this is a little behind the scenes, a little inside ball.
We love talking shop.
We love it. Hey Casey, what's up? So we wanted Avatar Podcast on Twitter. That is taken by an account that has, I think, 1 follower and has no tweets. And we couldn't get it. We couldn't get like Twitter's like grimy hands to give it to us. So we just reversed them. And I think it was the first 3 or 4 episodes where we were like plugging our Twitter. We kept on saying the wrong one. We kept on doing like at Avatar Podcast.
Yeah,
we're like, damn it.
That.
Damn it. Every time. And now even in my brain too, I kind of have to, unless I'm going through the motions of the intro, I have to kind of like think about it. Be like, no, it's not that. It's this one. Because if anyone has ever done a podcast or knows anything, once you have like a rhythm down for how you say things, it's just autopilot at that point. That's why in the beginning episodes of Avatar the podcast, my intro is almost identical to what we did on the Bad Coyote Funky podcast, where it'd be like, hello everyone, welcome to issue number blah 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 of the Bad Coyote Funky podcast. And I can still do that. I'm not thinking about what I'm saying, not that I do that much anyways.
Yeah,
but it just rolls off
I do that
tongue.
too for sure. And I have to remember a podcast I'm doing sometimes so I don't hit the rhythm of a different one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tough to just be like, hey Serge, what's up? It's tough to be like switch gears like that and have a different intro. So you have to really kind of like practice it a lot, I've found, and just make sure, because otherwise one show is going to sound exactly like the other show and you don't really want that necessarily. My show, I think, would be called I don't even know what I would be called. Boosting it up with Booster Greg. There we go. That's what I'm going to go with. And who would play me? Bradley Cooper. No, not Bradley Cooper.
You know you want to say Keanu Reeves.
I want to say Keanu Reeves so bad. I remember this is the best compliment I've ever received about my looks, period. I think it was 2 years ago. I was at my brother's house and he was grilling. It was the summer. It was nice out. And I had on a shirt much like this. And I didn't really do anything with my hair. And it had like my beard was kind of in full force. And my youngest brother looks at me. He goes, you look like a poor man's Keanu Reeves right now. And I was like, I'll take it. I'll take a poor man's Keanu Reeves. I'll take it. So that was
the best compliment I got about potential celebrity connection looks is Volpe and Ashley's kid was watching the Snyder Cut and saw Ben Affleck in costume and said, "It's Uncle Rob."
Oh man.
So I get recognized as the Batman actual costume, which is great for me.
That's probably the best thing you could ever ask for. I used to get, we talked about this with Taylor, I think. I used to get Zach Braff. I had an old manager who would say, oh crap, I can't remember his name now. Quantum Leap, Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
I get Scott. I don't think I look like Scott Bakula. He's much more handsome. He's got the jawline and everything. I don't have that. But those are the two that I've gotten. I would say probably Zach Braff would just end up playing me, but he doesn't have the voice. That's the big thing. But, or you know what? What am I thinking? Dax Shepard. I'll go with Dax. He's about 2 feet taller than me probably, but I would be happy with that.
And he's a delight.
I hear he is. And I've listened to Armchair Expert enough where I enjoy him and I know when he's talking out of his ass and he admits it too. And it's just great. It's fun. Okay. Moving on. Do you want to hear the categories again?
I remember them.
Okay. Which one do you want to go from
then? Let's do a getting to know you.
Getting to know you. Getting to know you has 20 questions. Pick a number 1 through 20.
Oh, I pick or does chat pick?
No, you pick this one now. You can't let chat pick everything.
Let's go lucky number 4.
Lucky number 4. We all know the answer to this. Do you have any pets?
Heck to the freaking
yeah. You do. Yeah, you do. Tell us all about the kitty.
So, and he's on his windowsill looking out the window right now because it's that season. I have an all black cat who's named Gotham, who I didn't even name. I just kept the name. My sister actually named him, and named him in the because she works at the pet shelter where I adopted him.
That was it. That was before you were talking about adopting Gotham, right? Or am I wrong?
It was. So they at that pet shelter, they do a monthly naming theme because they get so many pets that come in. And it's their way of tracking when the animals were born. So if they forget, like, oh, they were born in this month, then they can look at the name and be like, oh, that one with this theme, which was this month, and that's when they were born. So his was in a superhero month, and my sister texted me a picture of another cat and was like, this one reminds me of your old cat, because I had a cat for 16 years who was named Garfield. Because I named her when I was very little, and I was obsessed with Garfield.
Garfield was a she in your
right, and I assumed that the cat was a boy, and then we found out she was a girl, so we just started calling her Garfy instead, which is kind of cute. It was a nice name. So it took me a while before I was ready to adopt another cat, and my current place doesn't allow for pets, so the landlord. It's in my lease that there are no pets allowed, but the pandemic means no more laws. So
yes, we're practically in Mad Max land at this point.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So she sent me a picture of this other gray cat who was a female, and I was like, oh my god, she's adorable, but also like, look at all those cats, and I think it's time. It's been long enough. And I've been wanting a cat again for years. I just was like, I can't have one here. But then I just said F everything this year. So I went down there and I was like, that cat's great and everything, but I don't want to repeat the same cat. Like, sure. I'm glad this one reminded you of my old cat, but like, I don't want to do that again. I want her to be her and have just maintain that place in my brain that was hers. And I would like to do something totally different. What do you have for boys? And do you have any black ones? and there were 2 male cats that were all black. One was the runt of one litter, and one was another one that was in a different litter. And I looked at the runt first because I'm an underdog supporter.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then I wanted to, you know how like you just want something to happen for you, and it just doesn't. You're kind of disappointed by it. So like I just wasn't feeling it with that cat for whatever reason. So I was like, all right, can I check out the other one that's not a runt but in that other litter? And like as soon as I picked him up, I was just like, oh yeah, he's like a little more chill, and like I don't know, I'm feeling his vibe.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then my sister was like, oh, his name is Gotham. I'm like, you named him Gotham? Like it's superhero month, I get that, but like that's not a superhero's name or anything. Yeah, it goes along. She's like, yeah, and weirdly enough, I was thinking about you when I named him. I was like, this one's mine then.
Yes, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And Gotham is getting a lot more easygoing. I feel like when you first got him, he was like kind of running your life. And now,
oh, absolutely.
Now
yeah.
I feel like he's gotten kind of chill in that regard, as evident by the fact that you can actually stream on a consistent basis.
I know, right? Yeah, I think a large part of that, like I didn't remember how hard it was to have a cat. One, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And also I was one in a house of 4 other people and other animals. So like, and well, not at that age, but eventually Garfy became an indoor-outdoor cat. So she would come and go as she pleased.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how hard it was. So I live by myself, and Gotham is purely indoor. So I am his entire source of like connection with another living being. Yeah. So that's a lot. It's very demanding when you have a kitten that is super high energy.
Oh, sure.
But like, yeah, he's gonna be a year old in 2 weeks and a day.
Mm-hmm.
So he has mellowed significantly already.
That's crazy. You've had him that long. That's nuts. I can't believe I was thinking about this. I was going through last night when I can't sleep. I go through my podcast app and I try to find something to listen to. And sometimes I just kind of go in like a little bit of like it's almost like a YouTube hole, but it's just on podcast. And I was looking at all of the, this is just going to turn into a plug immediately. So let me just do this.
That's what I'm here for, really. My contract demands so many plugs so often.
It's true. I mean, I was looking at all of the wonderful content offered by the Geek Generation Podcast Network. And,
I mean, literally, when you plug your own podcast, you're still plugging.
That's true. That's true.
Something under the umbrella. It's all good.
I'm not going to tell everyone that how I began this little podcast hole was by checking the reviews on Avatar the Podcast before I go to bed, which is not a thing you should do ever, because sometimes you get that 2-star review that says Captain America came out after Avatar the Last Airbender, which still drives me up a wall. But I did, and I was looking at the Adventures of PB and Rob, and I was like, "Holy crap, that was like a year ago now."
Mm-hmm. I've actually gone back and listened to. I binged the entire show.
Wow!
Again, like within like a month or so ago, I re-listened to the entire thing because I was like, "Oh, I mean, I miss doing the show and everything."
Oh, yeah.
But like, I also knew that my entire journey to getting Gotham was in there.
Yeah.
Like we talked about whether or not I actually wanted to commit to doing that, and like which cat, what I was going to name him. And because I was going to name him Bruce for a while. And then I made the joke on Twitter that his current name was Gotham. And if I kept it, I could be like, oh, I got to go. Gotham needs me.
Yes, that's the best part of it.
And as soon as I made that joke, like, I don't know why, something just clicked in. And I was like, I kind of like it.
It's because you're Batman, and all you want to do is take care of Gotham and save Gotham.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. All. Must protect Gotham.
Must protect. Yes. For me, everyone knows that I have pets. I have 2 dogs and a cat and a wife.
Does that count as a pet?
No.
I mean, I know it does in certain shows. But...
no, just kidding. Just kidding. Anyone tells her I said that and press that button, you're all canceled in my book. Anyways, we got Pippin, who was the first one, who came from a super sad background where it was her sister, and her mother were the only surviving members of like that litter. And it was just, it was like West Virginia, which is not like a super great place for dogs anyways. And apparently there was a Saint Bernard that was like, this is a little graphic, so if you don't want to hear it, like stop listening for 5 seconds and then come back.
Okay, bye. No.
Oh, not you. You have to listen. You must. Apparently there's a Saint Bernard that was eating the dead bodies of the litter mates, which is not great, which also explains why Pippin's a nervous wreck right now and forever. Sure. But she was rescued along with her sister and her mother. So her mother stayed down there with the family, and her and her sister came up here. We were supposed to get a completely different dog that didn't work out because his name was Ollie, and he came over from the Virgin Islands. And when he got off the plane, he was walking funny, and it turns out he had severe hip dysplasia, which cannot be fixed.
Yeah.
It can be quality of life, and that's $10,000 per side surgery.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we could not afford that. So we had to pass on him, and we were devastated. We had everything set up. I still have the dog tag in my room. I can't bring myself to throw it away.
Yeah.
But so then there was like, I think it was like a couple days after we were finally like kind of okay with it. We were looking at dogs again, and we saw Pippin's picture, and we saw a bunch of other dogs' pictures, and we decided to let's just apply and see what happens. And we got a call within 30 minutes, which never happens with dogs.
Wow.
Usually it's like with Ollie, what we had to do is you had to do they did 4 different kind of checks. So they did, they called 2 references, they did a home visit, and they did a phone interview with us. It was like I was getting a job or something. It was crazy. But with this place, they're like, yeah, we're driving up actually from West Virginia tonight. So Pippin will be there tomorrow if you want to go see her in Rhode Island. And I was like, I just so happened I worked retail at the time. They called me on a Friday. The next day was a Saturday. I happened to have that Saturday off, which never happened. And I didn't apply for it or anything. They were just like, yep, have a random Saturday off. So he said, screw it, let's go and see what happens. We didn't bring any money. We didn't bring a leash or a collar because we were like, we're probably not going to get this dog anyways. She seems a little too large for what we're looking for. It's not going to happen. The second I picked up Pippin, I looked at Mrs. Boost's face, and it did like that squishy, like, oh, like kind of face. I was like, all right, run to the ATM. I'm going to hold this dog, and I'll buy whatever we need to buy to take her home tonight. You just get the cash for the donation is what they say when it's a rescue. And we took her home that day, and it kept on like, I don't know if you had this feeling with Gotham, but with Pippin, I kept on being like, is someone going to tell me I can't have this dog? Because I felt like, I don't know, like you never really feel like you're an adult. At least I never do, because I'm probably not a real adult. But I'm always just like, yeah, right. I feel like I was holding her and we were leaving with her, and I was like, all right, my dad's going to come out of nowhere now and say, you have to bring that dog back right this second. And that's going to be that. But obviously that never happened. So
I had that feeling a little bit, but it was my landlord in my brain saying, you can't have this cat here.
That's fair. So we brought her home, and it took her a while to like me. It took her about 2 or 3 weeks to get comfortable with me. So I'm wondering if there were like a lot of like men or something that found the abandoned house that she was living under and kind of like were throwing things or abusing or whatever. But I'll never know because she can't talk because she's a dog. And then we have Rusty, who his story's a lot shorter. It's just as heartbreaking, but it's a lot shorter. His mom kept on getting knocked up. So what would happen is the previous owners would like do horrible things to the puppies. And I'm not going to say what, but they're just terrible things to the point where this dog hid when she gave birth underneath, I think it was a shack or something. And it was like winter, and it was just terrible for them. But yeah, so... Or was that? I don't remember. I think that might have been the litter before him. But Rusty's always lived a comfy life. He never had anything bad happen to him. When they found her pregnant with this litter, I think they took her before anything bad could happen. So
good. Rusty,
and he had 6 brothers and sisters, all lived, all super healthy that I'm aware of anyways. And that was great. And Ziggy's just there. She's always there. I don't even know no one knows what Ziggy's story is. They're like, we think she was pregnant at one point, but we don't know. She just sits in her room, looks out the window, and just plots, I'm sure, our demise. I'm sure that's the case, especially since we brought a baby into the house and there's been less quiet. It's bad enough Rusty's screaming all the time. Never mind Zig. Okay, let's do that same category and just pick a different number.
I do just want to also say, too, it's funny to me that even on stream, you do all the same exact transition words that you do on the podcast that I usually edit out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have to pick a different number. Okay.
Pick a different number. Yeah.
Let's go. I like to stay divisible by. So how about 8?
8. Okay. Oh, I know the answer to this. I'm gonna put. I'm
getting really original stuff then.
No, but I'm gonna put a caveat onto this one.
Okay.
Which cartoon character do you wish was real? That's not Batman. That's not Batman. Yeah. Or Batman Beyond, or Terry McGinnis.
Sure.
It's not Batman related.
Which cartoon character do I wish was real?
Mm-hmm.
Are we friends, or I'm just wishing them into reality and they're somewhere in the world and I might never meet them?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's say.
Not that I put way too much thought into these things ever.
Yeah. let's just say that you're not friends with them, but you know they're out there, and that just like makes you happy.
Oh God.
Or not happy. I don't know. You might want to wish a character was real that you hate. I don't know.
The amount of cartoons that are streaming through my brain right now.
I'm doing the same thing. I'm absolutely doing the same thing. I feel like I'm contractually obligated to say someone in Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I don't think I will.
I know what Casey wants me to say, but I don't think that would be the case at all, honestly.
Yeah. It's not Goliath, Casey. Deal with it. Deal with it.
Thing is, like as much as I love that show, I don't even know if it's in like my top 5 favorite cartoons.
Yeah,
I just thought it was. I'm a fan of it, and
it's
I thought
interesting.
It'd be
It's an interesting premise, and there's a lot of research.
I love
to be done
the lore of it.
Yeah.
They did so much great world building in that show. Surprisingly, like. Anyway, let's see. I should just like name anything. But like, I'm committing to something here, and I always put too much pressure on myself with questions like this because I want it to be an accurate answer.
I thought of a character I would not want to exist.
Yeah.
Freakazoid.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Not just because of like the Jim Carrey or Robin Williams-esque mentality, but the fact that someone like that or something like that can pop out of your computer screen without any warning at any given point.
He's terrifying.
It's like the FBI, like the meme of the FBI is always watching you on your computer when you're on the internet.
Yeah.
If Jim Carrey was the FBI.
And he's pure chaos.
Yeah.
Absolute insanity.
Yes.
And when I'm thinking cartoon character, like all the like superhero and more realistic or like drama type cartoons, I'm just like, no, none of those. Like I want something absurd and funny and goofy.
Yeah.
And my brain is going to Wacko Warner.
Oh. Okay, why not Yakko though? Or Dot?
I was always a Wacko fan. He's just more goofy.
Okay, interesting. Would you want him to exist around you, or just like he's out in the world and you know he's out there and that's awesome?
If I'm thinking about someone that's just out there, like it would make me happy to know that he exists out there because I feel like he would still somehow be on the Warner Brothers lot doing what he does.
Trying not to get captured.
Thought. Yeah, and I kind of have I kind of know where he would be.
Yep, that's true.
And there's something fun about that. Like I know he's just like the world might never see what he's doing behind the scenes. Yeah. But I know that he's effing with every Warner Brothers production.
Yeah. I was tied until I got out of this headspace, and Keeps helped me do it, where my reaction as I was talking to you was Grogu, but Grogu's not a cartoon. So I can't pick Grogu.
Oh, he not though? Oh, well, yeah, he's a puppet.
He's a puppet. He's animated in 3D animated in some scenes, but he's predominantly a puppet.
But he's a puppet.
Yeah.
He's a puppet.
Yeah, so I can't say Grogu. But I think what I will say is Pikachu. I think that if Pikachu is out there, I would be very happy. And I would probably try to make him my friend and try to like, because it's just like, whatever since Pokemon first came out and I was watching it, all I wanted was like my own Pokemon. And I feel like Pikachu is not my first choice for favorite Pokemon, but is certainly the most portable in terms of just he just travels on your shoulder essentially. It's got enough personality, and if you run out of juice on your phone, you can just zap some charge back into it. Hopefully it's not like Shazam zapping and it ruins the phone, but I feel like I've seen in the anime enough times where he's got that under control. So not
I was trying to think of pets, because if I'm choosing something that I want to be in my life, I would go for a pet over something that is like potentially going to argue with me that much or something like that. And we did do an episode like that on Geek Gen before, the top 5 pets from media that you would choose. My number 1 was technically a cartoon, if it be a CG one. And in that case, I would go with Toothless.
When was that episode? I don't remember that episode. I've listened to so many.
God, I don't know.
That must have been before. That must have been before the first time you had me on, because I listened to my episode because I'm a narcissist.
I mean, Anna's on it, so
but
it's
it's
old.
Yeah, that's old. That's way before. I've been listening to every episode since I was on, because I used to have a really long commute all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be more episodes.
There better be at some point.
2015 is when that episode was.
Wow. Yeah, that was way before me. It was way before my time. Okay, we'll do one more question, and then we're gonna move over to the Would You Rathers, and I'm kicking you out. Because we're overtime right now, and we're not quite at Taylor overtime yet, but I feel like we're gonna get there. I feel like you're gonna beat Taylor's time. Okay, so same categories. What do you want to do?
Oh boy. Let's go back to the imagination one. I don't like the generic icebreaker category.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, chat. 1 through 9. Choose now. What is even in the other ones?
I feel like they're all awkward work ones.
Oh, this one's terrible. What's one thing that made you laugh recently? Oh, that's so bad.
The answer is always me.
That's like the what is it you say you do here kind of question. Con, what's up? All right. So Casey chimed in first. He said number 8 again. So that means I got to skip over. Actually, no, I don't have to skip over because I got him right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. If you had a robot to help you with one task and one task only,
okay,
what would it do?
Chores is not one task, correct?
It has to be like, it can't be a category. Chores is a category.
Right, like cleaning my house is a category.
Right, but like cleaning the bathroom, actually, I guess it's also a category. So like you'd have to be like cleaning the toilet.
Yeah.
Is one
specific task.
One specific task.
It's not going to be what you think it is, because my brain went right to chores, but I think I know what it would be.
Is it going to be editing podcasts so you can just sit back and do nothing and rake in all that dough?
That's actually 100% what it is. Reason being, if I didn't have to edit my own shows, the amount of podcasts I could put out would exponentially increase.
Yeah. Wow. That would be, you'd have so many shows.
I would.
I feel like you would also start to do the Geek Generation podcast again, because you just
might
throw it out there and have Alfred Bodyworth. Just that's who your robot's name is. It's also your bot name. So that's what it would be.
Yeah, I mean, there's other reasons we're not doing that show. The pandemic kind of killed it more than anything.
That's fair.
Because usually I do in person.
Do
that. I said do. That and like I'm learning about the power of niche podcasting and not hey, it's another show where I talk to my friends about geeky stuff, because there's not 3 million of those out there.
Podcasts really are the garage bands of the 90s. It's like everyone has
They
one.
are.
Everyone has at least one.
They really are. And
That's
now all the smaller podcasts are being overshadowed by branded podcasts and celebrities getting into the space, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. I let like Armchair Expert kind of like slide because it was right in the beginning of that whole fad. But now like every B to D list celebrity has their own podcast.
Yeah, I am burnt out on the celebrities interviewing celebrities shows.
Yeah.
I will occasionally listen to an episode of Michael Rosenbaum or Idiot or Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I really don't bother with a lot of those anymore.
Yeah. My podcast listening has actually gone down a lot since I don't drive anymore. There's still like the I think everyone knows that I listen to a lot of ghost story podcasts when I like need to go to sleep. It's just a weird thing. It's just like the tone and the ambient noises and stuff just like get me into a relaxed state, and I just pass out within like 20 minutes. I always set the snooze to an hour, but I never make it more than 20 minutes each time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just can't do the same thing with any other podcast because the energy level's higher and they're not trying to be calm or collected. They're just like trying to be entertaining and interesting. And so that just kind of like detracts from the whole experience. I know there's one, I think you told me about it, where the guy doesn't really like say much during the podcast. He just kind of he like reads articles or something in a calm manner. And there's not really sensical. I can't remember what it was called.
Is that the Sleep With Me?
Yes.
podcast?
Yes. I tried that one,
Yeah.
but I found that the nonsensical part of it intrigued me. So I would just be listening and trying to figure out what the hell he's actually saying.
The 3 podcasts I listen to for sleeping purposes are Sleep With Me, which is made for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one. Oh, This Week in Tech is one I listen to for that.
Okay.
And that's because they used to be on Stitcher as a live streaming thing, that and Smodcast. So I would never know what I was getting, and I would just put on the live feed and fall asleep to that, but they don't have that on there anymore. And the other one is a show called The Empty Bowl, which is a meditative podcast about cereal.
What?
Yes. They just talk in kind of like, not NPR type voices, but it's very like calm speak, and they're cereal enthusiasts. So they'll like review cereals and go over the new cereal news and stuff. And I'm like, this is really strange, but I kind of love it.
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it's super niche, but
yeah,
they have an audience.
Yeah, there's an audience for almost anything.
Pretty much.
There was a lot of podcasts that I was listening to that just quit. Like I would get really into it and I'd catch up and be like, this is our last one. This isn't worth it for us anymore. And I'm like, but I like this. And it's like all of the ghost ones, like after 2 years, they just all kind of like called it quits. But like what's really interesting is like thinking back on it is you can kind of see the gradient of them being like more fed up with everything as they go through, because they just like stop caring. So this one that I listened to, the first, I want to say handful or two of episodes were very professional and like very well edited and all that. And then like after that, they started like drinking during the episodes, and they stopped editing out the mouth noises, and the volume was kind of funny, and then there was dogs in the backgrounds, and then the energy just stopped being there, and then like
And they quit.
they're just like, this isn't worth it, bye. It's like, all right, I guess I should have saw it coming.
I get a newsletter every day, every morning, about like the podcast industry.
Yeah.
And one of the statistics I find super, super interesting is there are like a couple million podcasts in existence. Like there's over 2 million podcasts out there.
Jeez.
The amount that are active, meaning that they've updated within like the last 3 months, is way smaller than that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so a lot of shows, like, they've ended because they planned a limited run to begin with, or they just pod faded. Most shows not to go into all the podcast
No,
statistics that I memorized over the year, but most shows pod fade, which means for those not in the lingo of podcasting industry, pod fading is when a show just kind of stops putting out episodes and they don't really say anything about it. They just kind of stop. Most shows pod fade within the first 10 to 14 episodes.
That was something when we were doing Avatar the podcast. I think we flew by 10 to 14, or we were in number 13 or 12. And then Acorn and I were just kind of like, this is it. Like, we can't quit now, or we're that statistic right now. And it was before it really kind of like anyone would write to us, or like we got any reviews, or we got a couple of reviews and they weren't too favorable. Kate, I'm always just gonna yell at her into the void until she changes that damn review, which not a lot of people change their reviews, I've noticed.
No, it doesn't happen too often, and then people don't realize that it replaces their old one.
Yeah.
So I have a review on, I think, Geek Gen or Random Movie Club that says, "Oh, I was meaning to update this for a while, and I'm glad I did." That's the review. Because they thought the other one that they had put
would still be there.
Was still there, and they added another review, which they didn't realize replaced that updated one that they left. It's funny. But it was I felt bad for you when that one came in because it was the first review. Like no review has been as bad or as critical as that one that you first got. And I felt bad when that came in, but I also was like laughing internally because I was like, yep, welcome what happens when your show gets listeners and it gets real popular. And this is the first BS that comes in. The worst part about a review. All right, let's just the worst part about a podcast review is that you can't reply to it and be like, because I understood every criticism you had of the review, and I thought the same thing. They wanted you to be a different show. I'm like, there's other shows to listen to if you don't like this one for that reason. We're not going to conform to your ideal of what the show should be.
Well, it was also the first episode too. So like what we do, if no one's ever listened to Avatar the podcast, is we take turns doing the summary because it's easier on both of us. If one of us is doing the summary, the other one's just doing all of the research, then it's not really a balanced mix. And I actually I enjoy, for the most part, writing the summaries because I get to put in like my bad jokes and stuff like that into there. For the most part, it's very time consuming. And I don't know if we ever finish Avatar, like all the Avatar stuff, whatever happens with Avatar Studio, I don't know if I'll ever do another rewatch podcast quite like this, because it takes me probably 3 hours ish to do a 23-minute episode about.
Yeah.
And I also
you
get
guys
distracted
also go
a lot.
into excruciating detail on your summaries too, though, because not saying that's a bad thing.
No.
Just because like I rarely include dialogue or anything like that, or if there's an action scene, I don't necessarily describe what happens. I just say so and so do whatever, like, and keep it to like a sentence, because I don't know. I don't, especially, well, I guess I have to shorthand it a little bit too, because I started doing that originally with Random Movie Club.
Yeah.
And when you're doing a 2.5-hour movie, if you don't do some shorthand, then you're in big trouble.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing with us and with Avatar is there are so many little moments and little things that people really gravitate to for that show. And I'm not saying other shows are not like this, but we didn't want anyone to feel like we glossed over something and like have it be like a slight. So like there's the foaming mouth guy who, like, you don't have to really write him in. He doesn't really add much to it in terms of a plot or even the series, but he's such a fan favorite that someone would yell at us if we didn't mention him or we didn't like make sure that he was brought up.
Yeah, so I get that.
There's all those little things. So at that point, it's just like, well, fine. So here's a sneak peek for anyone who listens to Avatar the podcast. The next episode we're recording is going to be it's a quote unquote lost episode. It's Escape from the Spirit World. It's a gap. It bridges the gap between seasons 2 and 3, or book 2 and 3, where Aang is in the spirit world and he gets in touch with a couple of his former
spoilers
aspects. It's like a 15-minute. It was originally a mini game, like a flash game, that you just answer trivia questions to, and it proceeds to the next avatar. And it's the first time that you actually get to see Avatar Kuruk, who is my favorite avatar now. It used to be Aang because he was so different, but Kuruk is it right now. He's pretty much kind of the Booster Gold of the avatars.
For first-time watchers of Avatar, is there a way to consume this media?
It's on YouTube. Someone put it on YouTube. But if you own the Blu-rays, it's on the Book 2 end cap. It's like right at the end with all the special features. But it's definitely like there's so many just bootleg versions on YouTube that you can watch. And it's not voice acted. It's like a motion comic is the best way I can describe it when you're watching it. You can't play the games anymore, but it's all just trivia stuff anyways. And you just press the buttons until you got the right answer anyways with those games. So, but for that one, that took me, I want to say an hour and some change to write. And it was only like 15 minutes. And a lot of it is opening up the transcripts, opening up the wiki, watching, pausing, writing, going through, making sure that the quotes are accurate and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I forget where I was going with that. The process, yeah.
It's a massive process. It's one of the reasons that Random Movie Club died, because the return on investment was so low.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing doing it for something you love, but imagine doing it for like a 2-hour movie that you hate.
Yeah. Or even worse, a 2-hour movie that you hate and then get ghosted when it's time to record.
Yeah. I've done that too.
Yeah. That was a big wind out of the sails for me for Adapt This, was when I got ghosted for Judas Contract, because I didn't really enjoy it all that much. And then I was like, ah. And then Acorn agreed to do that episode with me too, but by that time I was just like, I don't know if I want to reread this, because comics, as iconic as that storyline is, it is a comic from the 80s. And it's not like super well written. So, and it's actually 2 different movies now, because you have the Judas Contract proper, and then you have the Deathstroke. What is that new movie with Michael Chiklis as the voice of Deathstroke?
I actually haven't watched that yet. I think it's called like
Demon.
I was thinking Knights and Demons.
Knights and Demons. I think you're, or Demons and Knights.
Is that
or something.
it?
Yeah, I think it is.
I was thinking that was the Constantine. What's the Constantine one called then?
I don't know. It's probably something like that too. But yeah, and I didn't watch it yet, but when I was watching the trailer, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much half of Judas Contract right there. Yeah. And it's how I think it's how he lost his eye, at least in the book.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if they do that in the movie because I haven't watched it, but in the book, that's how it happened. Okay, if I had a robot that could do...
Oh, right. That's the question. Crap. I told you this is why we were going to go past.
I think we both knew what we were getting into when I was like,
hey, you're also like interviewing an interviewer. So like both of us have follow-up questions to everything.
Yep. Okay.
Your robot.
The robot that can do only one task and one task only would be to... I want to say... No, I don't want to say that. It wouldn't be anything work... Oh, no. No, that's more of a concept, or that's like a category than an individual task.
You don't need a robot that edits podcasts. You already have one.
I got one. His name is TheRobLogan, and he's the best editor robot you could get on the market, in my opinion. Also, might not be a robot.
Hasn't been proven one way or the other.
I would say I would want a robot that could... I'm thinking of all these things that tasks actually exist. I was like, extends really tall, but I could just get a ladder for that. So I don't know if I want to waste my robot on that task.
Yeah, if you have like a very easy tool
to
complete a job.
Yeah. I would say I would want a robot to change diapers for me. That would be wonderful. I just bring the baby to the changing table and it just changes the diaper and maybe hands the baby back to me. Maybe.
I can see that happening very Jetson style.
Yes.
With a ridiculous amount of arms necessary for a test that doesn't require that many.
Yeah. Or actually, you know what? That whole getup of how George gets ready for the day, I could go for that. Just like put you on a conveyor belt and just put you through your morning routine. And
that's a lot of tasks, though.
It's a lot. I know I can't do that. It's not. I'm not counting that, but I'm saying that would be wonderful.
Understandable.
That would be great. All right, let's move over to Would You Rathers. So I found a random Would You Rather generator. I'm going to generate 10 questions.
Now, this is a game I'm very familiar with because this is straight out of Geek Gen. We did this all the time.
This is actually fun because if I do generate enough, it breaks.
Nice. So I love a broken Would You Rather.
It only has just half the question. So, for example, one that
Would you rather? No choice.
Yeah. So this is one of the things. I think it happened with Acorn or maybe Taylor, where it was just, would you rather receive $500? And I was like, yes.
Yes. Love it.
Yes, please. Chat's going to pick a number between 1 and 10. And then I'm going to pick the first two numbers. 9. Awesome. Ivysaur, what's up? 9 and 8. All right. Number 9 is first. And that is, would you rather have a car that always has fuel or a car that never needs repairs?
Ooh.
That's tough.
I have an answer for that right away.
Yeah? What do you got?
Yeah. A car that never needs repairs because it means it's never going to break down on me in the middle of traffic.
Unless you
and that is a bigger fear for me than running out of gas because I've never run out of gas.
That's true. So there's multiple ways to think about this. One is you never have to worry about that fear of your tire popping or your car stopping in the middle of the highway or anything like that.
Right.
But there's also never the need to look at the gas gauge ever again. And there's never a need to have to wonder, can I make it that far with this amount of gas? And you get that time of your day back.
True, though that thought so rarely enters my brain because I'm very good about filling up my gas tank.
Yeah, I'm pretty good about it, but I'm just very lazy. And I live up the street. I literally live up the street from a gas station. And I start my car sometimes and I'm like,
I also, the other reason is I've never been in a financial situation where I'm like, oh crap, now I have to shell out all that gas money.
That's true. It's much easier to shell out $30 than it is how many hundreds, if
when
not
you
thousands.
Need a repair.
Yeah.
Oof.
But also, you would save that money in gas. So ultimately, do you think you spend more money on gas throughout your life or car repairs?
Oh, I definitely spend more money on gas, but when you have the employment that I do or the deductions that you can take on it.
That's true. That's true.
Like a lot of my jobs right now have a deductible attached to the mileage that I drive.
I'm with you, by the way. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I would definitely want a car that never needs repairs. The only downside to never needs repairs is if you need an excuse for a new car, you're not going to get one. Like if you're just like, you have a car from like the 1980s and it's not like a cool muscle car, but it's just like a Mazda from the 80s that like kind of sort of like it works because it's not broken, but like it just feels dated. And you see someone with like all the gadgets of a new car that have like the touch screen and the Bluetooth and all that stuff.
So that's a question then. Does not needing repairs also include not having wear down? Because replacements aren't repairs.
Yeah, I would qualify that as a repair.
So like if your battery is done, it's just had its lifespan, is that a repair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I would say.
See,
so.
I wouldn't qualify it as one.
I would qualify any work done on the car, whether it be fixing or repairing. Well, I guess, yeah, for me it's all the same. If you pay a mechanic to do it, I think for me it qualifies under this. But here,
I don't need to pay a mechanic to change my battery.
Well, I do because I'm not as fancy as you are, Rob.
it pops right out. And
Actually, no, I actually have to because my car, the battery sits behind something. So you have to like pop something out and do all that. But even if that's the case, I'd still just call AAA and have them do it. But they can't. AAA can't even do it. I have to bring it to a mechanic, which just sucks. Here's another question, like another little like sub question for this.
Sure.
If you replace something, does it then become part of the car? In which case, it then becomes immortal, essentially.
So, are you considering that my breakdown is because under the original premise, and
right.
if breakdown counts as repair, then I'd never need to replace anything.
Well, like let's say, for example, you wanted to upgrade your car radio and have like something with Blu-ray in there, for example.
Oh,
or
I see.
Bluetooth.
So I just want to upgrade it.
You want to upgrade it. Does that upgrade then become part of the car, which means that it is like it gets those properties, or does that part break down because it wasn't part of the...
Are you trying to ship of Theseus me here on a would you rather question?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And then in that case, do all of these parts, when they go into a new car, do they convert the car into the same? Or does that then become something that can break down?
If a part leaves my car, does it inherit? Does it maintain its not breakdownable properties?
Yes. Yeah. And then
as it goes into another car and then infects it with that, and then all of a sudden all the cars everywhere.
I feel like this might be how Transformers starts. I feel like
there's a good chance.
Maybe.
Either that or GoBots at least.
Yes.
At the very least.
Can you imagine like you have this one wish, and the wish is that your car just never break down, and then all of a sudden all of these like people are trying to like steal parts, but can they even take it out? So like can they like do anything with that? Like
is it gonna reach out and grab the part and pull it back? This is mine.
Yeah, but like so like if you can never, or I guess it's meant to come out like a car radio.
Yeah, like,
but then
if it doesn't need to be repaired, that doesn't mean you can't repair it.
Right.
Which means you would be able to upgrade it by choice.
I was about to overthink that into like a crazy, like the car is just a brick at that point and it can't be taken apart at all. Keeps brings up an interesting question. Okay, but like what if it's an evil car like Christine? I feel like this is how Christine happens.
It doesn't have a personality. That was never a part of the question.
But so here's the thing though. What if you get one of those like personal assistants in there, but we're like 100 years down the line and it's AI. The AI can't break and it realizes
all right, this is going in a scenario that was never originally presented.
All right.
This is not what I signed up for.
This is
actually, it's exactly what I signed up for.
Yeah. Okay. I think the other one was number 8, I think. So... Oh, it's a broken one.
Yes.
It's the same broken one that I just told you. Would you rather receive a one-time payment of $500? Yes. Someone give me another number. Quickly. We agreed on these two. It's got to be. I'm going to actually generate a new list. Here we go. 1 through 10, chat. It is up to you. 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll do 3, then 1, then I'm kicking you out. All right. Would you rather read the book or watch the movie version of the book?
Read the book or watch the adaptation, essentially, right?
Yeah.
Always, 100% of the time, the movie.
Yes. Well,
for me,
if it's a comic book adaptation, that's a bigger question for me. But if it's just like, oh yeah, Harry Potter, then yeah, I'd rather just watch the movie. If it's not something I'm already invested in, then I will definitely watch the movie. But if it's a comic book or a graphic novel, that's where I really have to kind of think about it. Because, I don't know.
Yeah, it's still for me. It's just I just prefer movies as a medium because even reading comics, this is actually a thing that comes up with me a lot in general. Mm-hmm. I don't enjoy reading. The physical process of reading, I don't enjoy it. When I read any books, there's only 2 kinds of books I do read. I read autobiographies and I read cookbooks.
Okay.
And I guess you could count comics in there. I think of comics as like their own category. I never lump them into books for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I am an incredibly visual person. I hate fiction novels. I hate them because I start to read, and I think the reason a comic maintains my attention where a novel doesn't is because it has a visual component. And you could say, Rob, what are you, in kindergarten? And I would say yes, probably. But the real reason behind that is I am such a visual person that having just words on a page forces me to generate so many images in my head to properly process it that I get pulled away from the text and I have a hard time paying attention to it because I keep going into my brain too much to build the pictures.
See, I have this problem with reading where if it doesn't interest me 100%, my mind wanders way too much.
That
and then
too.
I like end up having to read the same page like 4 or 5 times. And then I'm reading the page. I'm like, well, I've already read this part. And then I get annoyed and then my mind wanders even more. And it's just like this consistent thing. And it's starting to kind of happen with audiobooks too, specifically Stephen King audiobooks. I'm trying to get through The Stand right now and I can't because I'm just like, I've already heard this part. All right, let's move it along. And then by the time I zone out a little bit, by the time I come back, I'm like, wait, what are they talking about now? I don't remember this. And then it's just rinse, lather, repeat. And it's one of those things.
I also don't listen to fiction audiobooks either.
It really just does depend for me, though. Like, I love John Steinbeck because it's mostly character stuff and mostly dialogue, I feel. And that I can really read and get into. Like, I'd rather read someone's tone and intentions than read a paragraph about how they brushed their hair and looked into someone's, like, eyes and, like, drove a wrench in between, whatever. Like, I just want to hear it in the dialogue and not so much in the description. So I guess maybe in that point, I feel like movies, too, for me at that rate. Because that's what movies are, is you don't hear the damn description of things, you see it, which is
the other huge reason for me is time constraints.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, even when I was a kid, like watching a movie takes a couple hours. A book can take like a freaking month.
Yeah, it really can.
The pace that I read at and how much I, like you, wander and like go, oh my God, gotta go. Oh, I add so much time than it would normally take, which is still longer than a movie.
Yep. Okay. This next one, the one that Lisa chose, is really interesting. Well, not that interesting, but I just want to hear your answer for it. Would you rather never have to do laundry again or never have to do dishes again?
Dishes.
Laundry for me. Why dishes?
Because dishes, laundry, like, are we talking both? Okay, here's the caveat question.
Yes.
Are we talking with technological aid that exists or none, or like purely by hand? Because if I have to do laundry by hand, nobody thinks that. Everyone has laundry machines and stuff.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you can use your like machines for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does doing laundry include folding it?
Yes. And also doing dishes can include drying.
Yeah, though I usually let that air dry, so that's not like.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not a huge aspect for me. As when it comes to chores, the chore I hate the most is doing the dishes.
Okay.
Like it's the bottom of the barrel for me because you know how much I enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
So there's usually a mountain of dishes for me all the time.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And they pile up, and that's the thing I get lazy about. Whereas, and I usually need those first or sooner than I do laundry. Like laundry, I can let hang around for a while.
Yep.
Even if I just let it sit in the dryer and not fold it,
just take it out of the dryer.
I can still pull it out and use it. Yeah,
yep,
but like if I'm doing dishes, I gotta clean those dishes before I can cook again. And sometimes I want to cook, but I have to clean first. I'm like, gah.
Yeah. See, I used to dislike dishes a lot more than I do now. I think a lot of it is just having a baby where I'm just like, either me or Mrs. Booster is always just like washing these bottles out. And it's to the point where it's like, I don't even mind it anymore. But no matter how many times I did my own laundry, I hated it. More specifically, the folding and putting it away. Throwing it in the machine is fine. I have no problem with that. It's just after the fact where I'm just looking at it and it's just like when I was in college, I would just throw it on my bed and it would just sit at the foot of my bed and I would just take it as I go, essentially.
I literally have a load of laundry in the dryer right now. That's done. And it's been there since yesterday.
Yeah. I hate having to fold it. And fortunately, my beautiful partner and wife doesn't mind it. So she gets to do the laundry. And then
ladies, if any of you don't mind doing dishes and love regularly cooked food and baked goods,
that's also
I have a guy for you.
That's also the deal that we have in my house, where whoever makes dinner does not have to do dishes.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a rule I want so badly.
It's a really solid rule, but what you'll find, at least what I find, is you kind of rush to make dinner. It's just like, oh, you just walked in the house. What would you like? I usually make dinner now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Usually. Also,
see, I've never dated someone who cooked.
So she can
always me.
She can cook, but she likes things a little less flavorful than I do. So that's why it's also why I like to cook. Is I can make it my way as long as I don't put any like too much heat in it. It's usually pretty okay. But yeah, she makes like a beautiful like shepherd's pie and stuff like that. But if it's like tacos, no, I'm taking over for that. If it's anything like any sort of steak, I'm taking over. Chicken, she can have the chicken, but like I need to have like robust flavor in my food. Otherwise, I just drown it in whatever sauce I can find. And that's how it goes. All right, I lied. We're gonna do one more, and I'm gonna let you pick this number 1 through 10.
Okay. I have to keep it even just because of my brain, and I'm gonna say 2.
2. 1, 2. Here we go. Would you rather? Oh my God, this is gonna hurt you. I feel like.
Oh no.
Would you rather be great at something nobody cares about, or average at something that everyone cares about?
I'm already the second one.
Yeah.
I'm average at everything. There's a reason I chose the movie title I did. Average despite effort.
Fair.
I feel like I am one of the most multi-skilled people I know, but like average at all of them.
So would you rather stay that way, or would you rather be great at one thing and nobody cares about?
What's the point of being great at something that nobody cares about?
It can still be important. It just nobody cares about it.
Am I part of everybody?
That is a good question.
Because if I don't care about it, then what's the point?
But you could still make a lot of money off of it.
Could I?
It could be literally anything, as long as it's something that nobody cares about.
What if it's like I'm really good at fishing out belly button lint? I'm not making any money on that.
Yeah, but like let's say you're really good at where my brain went was, let's say you invented the Ziploc baggie. No one really cares
about that.
But think of how rich that person is.
Yeah, but based on the amount of people that would buy it, to say that people don't care about it means they wouldn't be willing to pay money for it either. Like there's no demand for that thing that you're good at.
That's true. That's very true. But like it could be something really impressive, like
but that's impressive. The definition of impressive is to impress others.
So
they don't care though.
I'll put it this way. You've seen all the Mission Impossible movies, right?
Yeah, I sure have.
Remember the one? I don't remember which one it is, but there's the one where it starts with Tom Cruise in prison and they do a prison break. And he's throwing that ball, like he's just bouncing it like off of 3 different like walls, and he catches it all with one motion. He keeps on doing that. What if it's that? Does anyone really care about that? Not really, but it's cool.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with the latter.
All right.
Yeah. I would much rather be average at a lot of things because my entire existence is to try and impress people. So,
but are you impressing anyone with being average at something?
I think at this point, by the sheer amount of things that I can do, yes.
So it's not the things
Because
that you can do, but the number of things.
I
Interesting.
think it's my Batman-like diversity of skills that impresses people at this point.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the question is, jack of all. Would you rather be a jack of all trades or a master of something that no one has ever heard of or will hear
I am a
of or
Rob
cares
of
about?
all trades, which was
Rob of all
actually
trades.
going to be the name of my media company before I, one, the URL was taken, and two, it ended up in other contexts. If you split it up separately, it's Robo Fall Trades.
Oh my God.
Robotic trades in the autumn season.
There's someone has, I don't remember where it is, but someone has, Keeps has this. I'm like staring at Keeps. Sometimes I like to try to read Keeps' name as something different. So Keeper of T-Heart is what I always go with.
People do that with my name too, like TheRobLogan.
That's just funny. TheRobLogan. That's great.
You capitalize it differently, it totally changes it.
Yes. Yeah. All right. I need to get you out here because I need to kill some zombies or I'm going to.
And I'm pretty sure I broke the record by quite a bit.
I'm sure you did. Yeah. We're almost on 2 hours. So you definitely broke the record. Why don't you tell all the wonderful people where they can find you and everything that you're doing over on your Twitch channel too?
Sure. So I am the Geek Generation guy.
It sure is.
I do all the things, literally. And speaking of just doing everything. So yeah, I founded the podcast network and the stream team, and I do all that. I have 4 podcasts, one of which is absolutely pod faded. I'm gonna say another one probably has as well. I don't know if the Geek Generation podcast will ever come back. So that's probably, I know, but I did it for 10 years, so
yeah, that's fair. Time to let it go.
Yeah.
It is time.
So there's that. There's Random Movie Club, which is a Patreon exclusive, so you'd have to go to thegeekgeneration.com/support to get episodes of that over there. I do Quantum Drive, which is a podcast about the Orville. If you enjoy that, myself and my lovely co-host Katie Peters Plays, we do that. We'll have a new episode in the near future. Holy crap.
I saw that. That means I actually have to watch the Orville and then listen to the podcast.
And we're going to have, check this out, we're going to have 2 new episodes in the near future.
Whoa.
Because when I posted about the fact that we were going to do this one, we got contacted by the author of the comics, who's also a producer and writer on the Orville, and was like, hey, I can't talk season 3 spoilers, but would love to come on and talk comics with you guys. And we were like, yeah,
that's awesome.
So we'll do the and that's what I mean by, like, once you get in, man, like once they notice you, that's when things start. And then so yeah, we're gonna be doing that soon. And you can check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at TheRobLogan.
Yeah, and on Twitch on Wednesdays he does this like Wrestling Wednesday, and unfortunately that's family time for me. The Wrestling Generation. I always call it Wrestling Wednesdays because the alliteration.
That's what we called it when we were just doing the story mode at first, before the league started.
Yeah. So if you would like your wrestler to go toe to toe with my wrestler, you go watch Rob's channel enough to get the channel points to make yourself a wrestler, and then you'll probably win, because I think Avatar X has lost the majority of the matches that he's been in. But
you though were in did you see the triple threat that happened this week?
No, I only saw the level up match, and then I had
there was a triple threat #1 contenders match.
Ooh,
it was Avatar X versus Rob Impact, versus the Spud.
Yeah, did Avatar X won?
No, because who freaking always wins? Yeah,
the Spud. What a cheap,
Spud.
The Spud. You know what I'm gonna do right now? Hold on. Twitch.tv/silence_night. We're just gonna go over to this scene real quick. Oh, not that scene. I'll put you over here. Now people can see it. There we go. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Oh, that's a dead.
You cheating bastard.
No, I'm not. I'm right here.
All right. That's enough of that. Enough of him. All right, Rob. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and being my friend on a Friday. I appreciate it. Fone-a-Friend Friday. That not sound like that mouse from Fievel.
Fone-a-Friend.
Fone-a-Friend Friday. Unleash the secret weapon. And if you know
I
that
want
reference,
French fries on Fone-a-Friend.
all right, Rob, get out of here. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Everyone, go give Rob a follow, please. Please go do that. He's wonderful. He didn't have to take the 2 hours. Oh, over 2 hours. No, that's not how math works. Quite some time to talk. Hey, that's enough. It's too much clapping for Rob. We're going to take a quick BRB. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to refill my water. We're going to kill some zombies, and it's going to be a great time. All right? If you
Go anywhere, I will find you.